Hey friends, what's up? Welcome to today's video. So, I'm sorry, my hair's all wild and crazy. It's just one of those days. It's all rainy and gloomy. So, I just threw my hair up. But anyways, this look is super bold and super dramatic, not very wearable, as you guys will see here in the tutorial. So basically what I wanted to do was a final review, my final thoughts, and talk a little bit about this palette because I know that it's gotten a lot of hate and a lot of people don't find it very easy to use. So first I want to show you guys how I got this eye look. It's just the eyes. I didn't do anything else in this video, but I will tell you guys that I'm wearing Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in Requiem, and I love, love, love this lip color. So I threw a pop of the blue-green on the lower lash line. Now, like I said, this is super dramatic and not a very super wearable look for most people, but I will explain all that and get into it right after the tutorial. Starting out by taking Edge, and we're going to go ahead and blend that into the crease. I like to use yellow to start as my base shade because yellow is very, very easy to blend off of later, as you guys will see in the tutorial. And the next shade we'll be using is called Fudge, and it is a nice chocolatey brown shade. And we're going to go ahead and blend that into the crease with the yellow. And you guys will see how beautiful this will be blending out. It's going to be pretty seamless. And to make sure you've got a nice blended, seamless look, you want to take a fluffy brush and just work that all in. And the next shade we're going to go in with is called New Wave. This shade is a gorgeous, mustard, orange, yellow shade. We're going to go ahead and pack that on the lid. As you guys can see, I am using patting motions. I'm literally tapping that on the lid. These colors are insanely pigmented, and in order to keep that pigment and not, have it get blended away like a lot of people were complaining about, you want to use a packing motion. And then right next to New Wave, I'm going to go ahead and take All Star. This is a very pretty burgundy cranberry shade, and I'm going to use that same patting motion to take that on the outer edge of the lid, and I'm going to blend that into New Wave. And then to give the crease this dark, vampy look, we're going to go ahead and go in with Rowdy. And I am taking a small tapered fluffy blending brush, and I am running that directly into my crease very tightly. And you guys will see that it pulls a very dramatic, deep, pencil-like effect into the crease. And then as you guys can see here, I'm going back in with all of the colors, and I'm just kind of going back over top of them, getting them as pigmented as I want them to be, and just kind of blending everything together. Once I have the eye the way I want it, I'm going to go ahead and take Cube, which is this duochrome iridescent purpley pink shade. And I'm taking it on my inner corner, and as you guys can see, I kind of screwed up here because this little tiny pencil brush just wasn't doing it. It wasn't picking up the color, and plus I had wet the brush, which
was starting to ruin the eye look. So as you can see, I switch over and I start going in with my finger, which I advise with these because it makes a world of a difference. These shades just work better with your finger.
Alright guys, so now you've seen the tutorial and you've seen how I worked with the shadows and how I built them up and used a lot of patting motions. These shadows are super pigmented, and a lot of people were complaining that, you know, when they were putting them on and blending, that they were blending the shadows away. And as you guys see, like, I built really dark in the crease and then I went back and just patted the shadows on. And it is fairly well blended in my opinion. I'm sure there are people out there that will disagree and they will say that this look is horrible and it's not blended, but to each their own. So I feel like Anastasia Beverly Hills meant well with this palette. I feel like it wasn't advertised correctly. This palette, I think what they were doing was reaching and pulling out that inner artist. This palette is definitely, you know, your bright pops of color. It's kind of fall. You got some warm tone shades in here, and then you have like these glittery like shades, and they're like duochrome shades, which I have cube like right here, and it picks up pink and purple reflex. And I've used electric in a tutorial. They work best either with your finger or wet. As you guys can see, I started putting it on and then I ended up changing and putting it on with my finger. I started with a brush. But these shadows are also very finely pressed. They're very soft. Like if I take my finger here that has nothing on it and I just go like this right here into New Wave. You see I just pressed right in there. Look at the pigment that I picked up just from pressing my finger in there. You're not going to get that with a lot of shadows. These colors, I feel, were meant for people who come up with very creative looks, or maybe someone who is doing runway makeup on models. This is the kind of palette where you kind of just throw the colors on, you splotch them on there. This is not going to be your everyday palette, and I feel like that's why it was advertised incorrectly. A lot of people thought, oh, this will be the perfect palette, it's warm, it'll be perfect for fall, and it'll be like the modern Renaissance. And honestly, it's nothing like the modern Renaissance. That palette is a more wearable palette where, like I said, this one is, I believe, to pull out your creative side. Now, that's just my opinion. I feel like a lot of people who do dramatic looks and very colorful looks and just out there looks are going to get a lot of use out of this palette. And from what I've seen, the YouTubers who do create very bold out there looks, like for example, Atlee here on YouTube. She does a lot of bold, dramatic looks, a lot of colorful looks, which is what I love about her, and she has had no issue with this palette. I honestly feel the same way. I like a lot of out there looks, and I like to really dig into my creative side, and a lot of times wear looks that aren't that wearable for everyone else, and I feel like that's why I don't have a hard time with this palette. Also, what people need to take in consideration is that the color wheel, so the whole color theory, that plays into your makeup. And for some reason, people don't think that that applies. But I'm going to show you guys here. When you use yellow, so like edge here, and you place the yellow down, like I did in my crease, any color you use is going to blend off of yellow. It's going to blend in very well with yellow. So like All Star here, we're going to go ahead and blend that into the yellow. Now look at that. Well, I didn't blend very well there. Let me get a little bit more. So we're blending into that yellow. And what that did was lighten up All Star a bit. I still have a big, nice yellow streak. I shouldn't have done it like that. Let's do this again. So, okay, we're going to put edge and blend that in with our finger all around, and then we're going to go into All Star and blend that all around. So basically what I'm saying is that these colors, anything with yellow is going to blend really, really good. And you're not going to get that gray, muddy look. You have to be really careful when you're mixing your colors. Like, okay, if I take All Star and Access and blend it together, which I'm running out of hand ring to blend on, so let's move over here. Okay, and then I put All Star in there. it turns gray, which I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but you're going to get a very muddy look if I keep blending there. See, it's not so pretty. It's gray looking. More in person, it looks gray than it does on camera. So you guys, I'm going to try to put a color wheel up here just to show you guys what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm not the best at explaining things, but when you're blending your eyeshadows, you want to, like, the colors are kind of lined up here. So we got Fudge, New Wave. Those are going to blend really well together. You got Untamed Edge. Those are going to blend very well together. Actually, all four of these are going to blend very well together because you have those yellow-orange tones, which is what I tried to use here so that you guys could kind of understand, you know, not getting a muddy look, a more blended look. It's the same thing up here. Dawn and Destiny are going to blend very well together. You're going to be able to take some Destiny in the crease and use a little bit of Dawn to blend around it, maybe lighten it up. Mercury and All-Star are going to blend very beautifully together because they're close in tone. You got your dark shade and your light shade. Now, like I said, Access and Rowdy, those are not going to blend very well together. Now, I have Rowdy up here in... No, what is this? All-Star is on my outer portion of my lid, and then I took Rowdy and blended that from that, which goes together. These are two purpley tones. And then I took Access underneath and blended it into my black liner. So you guys, I'm telling you, if you have this palette, play around with it. Take a day, sit down, just put some colors on your lid, blend them together, just play with the palette. And try to think outside your box. Try to step out of your comfort zone and be more creative. And I promise you, you might get a little more use out of this palette. Just give it a try before you just say nope and return it. And, you know, just throw your hands up and decide that you're done with it, because this palette is gorgeous. And I really do see where Anastasia was going with this palette. I do wish that they would have advertised it differently. Maybe advertised it more on the runway artist side. You know, instead of trying to advertise it as a more wearable palette, because it's honestly just not an everyday wearable palette. So when you're trying to have some fun and go out, or, you know, if you're going to a party or you're going to a drag show or something like that, this is going to be that kind of palette. Honestly, it's one of my favorite palettes that's come out this year, and I know a lot of you guys probably think I'm crazy for saying that, but I love it. So I hope that I gave you guys a good explanation. I honestly am going to give this palette 2 thumbs up. I don't have an issue with it. I love the looks that I have been creating with it, and I've been grabbing it a lot just because it's getting into fall, and I am really feeling very creative and very inspired lately. I feel like I was a little down and not really knowing what looks to create, and this palette came out and brought some of that inspiration back for me. So anyways, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment bar below. I will be happy to answer them for you. And if you guys want to see more tutorials with the palette, I would be happy to do that. If you're over the palette, that's fine too. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already exited out of this video because you're so sick of people talking about the Subculture palette. But I just wanted to give you my final thoughts review and kind of explain the way that I believe the palette should work. So anyways, I love you guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and your bell for notifications, because I know some people are still not getting notified because YouTube has just been being very weird lately. But anyways, today's shout out is going to be to Alyssa Williams, who is one of my very best friends. I just want to say thank you so much for noticing the background change and the color and the lighting in my latest video. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on my next video. Also, don't forget to put a smile on your face, because it is truly the best makeup you can wear. Bye, you guys.
A few things I want to say really quickly that I forgot to mention during the tutorial and video is that we need to remember that sometimes there are products that work well for others and they might not work well for you. So instead of just saying that a product is garbage, just try to keep in mind that maybe it just did not work out for you, and it did work for that person. It doesn't mean that, you know, the person behind the camera or the person behind the palette is lying. And also let's keep in mind that in any eyeshadow palette, if you take a brush and swirl it around vigorously, you're going to get a lot of pickup and a lot of fallout and a lot of powder. Yes, this palette does have a lot of fallout, but these these are finely pressed, so let's keep that in mind. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say to you guys. I love you so, so much, and I value your opinion. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that my opinion helped someone out there. I will see you guys on my next video.